and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stefani Ernes Adisti, and today I will be your local tour guide during your visit to Semarang's Old Town, which is one of the city's most legendary tourist attractions. The bus ride to the Old Town from the hotel will take about 15 minutes. Then, I'd like to take a moment now just to familiarize you with the area and remind you of some brief safety precautions. Firstly, please remain seated until we arrive at our destination, and please stay with your group to avoid getting separated. Second, make certain that all of your personal belongings are secure. Third, leave the place clean as it is, for we must always bear in mind that take nothing but pictures and leaves nothing but footprints. Lastly, for those of you who needed to use the restroom, you still have plenty of time before we go. So please use your time wisely. Then make sure to have a good time on your trip. Have fun and enjoy your journey. Now we have arrived at our destination. Please watch your steps. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to accompany you on this tour and for choosing Semarang as your destination city. So once again, welcome to Semarang. However, before we begin our tour, let me tell you a little bit about Semarang. Semarang is the capital of Indonesia's Central Java province. Therefore, the city is led by Mayor Hendrar Prihadi, who is succeeded by Deputy Mayor Hevarita Gunaryanti Rahayu. It should also be noted that this city is known as Indonesia's fifth largest metropolitan city after Jakarta, Surabaya, Bandung, and Medan. Semarang City, one of the most developed cities on the island of Java, has a population of approximately 1.6 million people. Geographically, Semarang City is bordered on the north by the Java Sea, on the east by Demak Regency, on the south by Semarang Regency, and on the west by Kendal Regency. The air temperature ranges from 20 to 30 degrees Celsius with an average of 27 degrees Celsius. Semarang has an administrative area of 373.70 kilometers, which is divided into 16 sub-districts and 117 urban villages. Semarang's population is very diverse, consisting of a mix of ethnicities including Javanese, Chinese, Arabics, and ethnic descendants from other countries. Similarly, other ethnic groups from various regions of Indonesia that make up Semarang's populations, and most of them come to open businesses, to study, and live in Semarang. The majority of the population committed to Islam, which was followed by Christianity, Catholicism, Hinduism, and Buddhism. People earn their living in a variety of ways, including as traders, government employees, factory workers, and farmers. Despite its diverse population, Semarang City has a very peaceful social life. Religious tolerance is greatly regarded. This is a factor that strongly supports Semarang's security conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Old Town, and you can take a look around to see the artistry of the building that surround this area. But before we go any further, let me briefly describe this area. The old town or Kota Lama as we locals call it is also known as the Little Netherlands since it is very similar to the cities in the land of windmills. This area, formerly known as the Oude Stad, served as the seat of the Dutch colonial government and features typical for architecture. This area was considered exclusive during the colonial era because it hosts several vital offices such as the commercial office, city hall, places of worship, and the residence of influential figures of the time. It doesn't degrade over time. Evidence of colonialism legacy in Semarang can still be seen and felt, and while some areas have been changed or revitalized, the old town's reflection as a miniature of the Netherlands in Semarang remains quite strong. Please follow me as we move on to other buildings. The iconic Belenduk Church is directly in front of you. Although it is commonly referred to as the Belenduk Church, the church is actually known as GPIB Immanuel, which stands for Gereja Protestan Indonesia Barat, or West Indonesia Protestant Church in English. Because of the uniqueness of the dome covering the church roof, which is shaped like a wedge of a ball, locals call it Belenduk or simply Belenduk Church because of its bulging dome. The Portuguese built this church in 1753, and it has a unique building design, typical of European buildings, with an octagonal floor plan, luxurious classic interior, and a semi-circular dome that attracts attention as the oldest church in Indonesia. Another distinctive feature of the church is that it is decorated with various types of luxurious lights and an organ or baroque organ or ancient musical instrument that can no longer be used in its function. But the church itself is still used as a place of worship for Protestants to this day. Aside from the Belenduk Church and Sriguni Park, there are many other buildings or roads that remain standing even though their names and functions have changed, such as the place that we will visit after this. So let's take this route. To your right, you will see Precautions Restaurant. Precautions Restaurant was once the headquarters for Southeast Asia's wealthy, particularly OIOT Restaurant. In 1863, the office was owned by his father, who traded rubber, cotton, gambir, tapioca, and coffee, until the company fell into the hands of OIOT Restaurant and he changed its name from NV Kian Quam to OIOT Restaurant Concern, or OTHC. The company he held became more and more profitable until he eventually entered the shipping, timber, property, and opium business. Prior to the sugar crisis, many sugar factories borrowed money or owed OIOT Restaurant money for business contracts that were not being fulfilled at the time. Eventually, there was a sugar crisis, and many sugar factories went bankrupt due to inability to pay, and OIOT Restaurant's golden age began. Indirectly, he has created numerous treasures, whether in the form of gold, money, or buildings, and in the Old Town area, which is now the location of Pringset. He keeps his treasure in a very thick safe with 2 floors. We can still see how the safe box looks right now, but we won't be able to enter unless we ask permission from Pringset's customer service. The building itself is 80% original from the Dutch colonial era, with the exceptions of a roof replacement due to a fire in 2007. Oi Tiong Ham's son took over the company Oi Tiong Ham Concerns or OTHC in 1924. Despite the fact that his work was not as dependable as his father, Oi Tiong Hao managed to get through the crisis until the company was passed down to Oi Tiong Ham's grandson, at which point the company's work performance declined. The company's performance continued to deteriorate until the Indonesian government confiscated its asset in the 1960s due to the company's problems. It should also be noted that Oi Tiong Ham used to own land in the Old Town area as well as 7 buildings ranging from the current Pring Sewu, RRI, to Hirukafi and others. The preceding explanation marks the end of our tour of the Old Town, so please double check your luggage before returning to the bus, as we will be heading to Semarang's Culinary and Food Souvenir Center to enjoy and shop for delicious local cuisine. Actually, there are many Semarang specialties such as wingko babat, ganjal roll bread, bandeng presto, and sifon pelangi, which is becoming more popular today. However, among all the food, I would like to recommend you lumpia, a type of spring roll filled with bamboo shoots, eggs, and chicken or shrimp. Lumpia Semarang has its own history. Around the 1800s, Chow Tayo, a trader from Fujian province, came to Semarang. Chow opened a trading business for traditional Chinese food, a type of roll filled with bamboo shoots and mixed with pork, then rolled up with a salty taste. Chow's food quickly became popular among Semarang's residents, particularly urban Chinese and their descendants. However, Wasi, a Japanese woman who sells similar foods, appears to be Chow's competitor. Wasi rolls, on the other hand, are filled with scrambled ingredients such as minced chicken, shrimp, and sweet eggs. They compete in trade, but they compete in a sportive environment. Then they eventually become friends and exchange recipes. They also decided to marry and make lumpia, a hybrid of Chinese and Japanese spring roll. As a symbol of love for the union of the two cultures, following the creation of this new recipe, all food ingredients considered haram in Islam, such as pork, pork oil, and similar haram ingredients, are replaced with chicken, shrimp, and etc. The seasonings have also been changed. Instead of Chow spring rolls being salty and Wasi's signature spring rolls being sweet, this new recipe combines both salty and sweet flavors. Aside from lumpia Semarang, I also recommend wedang tahu, in which wedang refers to a drink and tahu is an Indonesian word for tofu or bean curd. Wedang tahu is a ginger and bean curd based wedang or drink. Making this bean curd or kembang tahu is a fairly simple process. We just soak fresh soybeans overnight, then peel off the outer skin, then using a blender to puree the soybeans and cook over low heat until foamy and the dessert consistency is rich. Then strain the soybean juice through a slightly coarse cloth to remove the soybean dregs from the juice. We don't have to wait for the soybean juice to cool down before mixing it with the gelatin powder or tapioca flour. If all of the ingredients are already in one container, evenly combine the bean curd mixture to make a dense soybean juice. Then wait for the soybean juice to cool and solidify. Kembang tahu or the bean curd has a plain taste and gelatinous texture that breaks easily when it enters the mouth. This bland flavor is combined with the sweet, spicy flavor of ginger and spices. This Semarang specialty drink is best consumed when the rainy season arrives or the night air in Semarang begins to cool. Wedang tahu first arrived in Semarang at the end of the 19th century. The interesting fact is that Ong Kim Mew, a Chinese, wrote wedang tahu. Wedang tahu was initially sold only on the shoulders rather than on a cart. It differs from the current wedang tahu in terms of ingredient. Wedang tahu used to include other ingredients besides ginger and tofu, such as small prawns, reborn or ebi, soy sauce, sliced vegetables, scallions, and coriander. So traditionally, this dish was served with shakwe or mantou, a type of Chinese bun. Wedang tahu grows over time, transforming it into a sweeter version of the bean curd or kembang tahu, which was previously savory. The soybean juice was then replaced with gelatin-infused soy milk, while the sauce is made from boiled ginger and sugar or brown sugar. It is frequently enhanced with pandan leaves, lime leaves, cinnamon, and cloves. Please let me know if you have any question or suggestion. Thank you for your kind attention. I hope everyone enjoyed and learned a lot from our trip. I hope to see you again in your future tours. Enjoy the rest of your days here in Semarang and have a safe trip back home. Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and kill nothing but time. Again, this is Stefani signing off. Thank you and goodbye. It's more fun in Indonesia, it's more fun in Semarang.